And now we get to hear from Edward Flores, the Chief of Correction in Santa Clara County Department of Correction, and Joyce Wing, the Chief Information Officer in Santa Clara. Thank you so much for coming all the way to the east.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your interest in our program and for the opportunity to make this presentation, and it's a real honor. The Santa Clara County Department of Correction is the 4th largest county correction system in the state of California and the 14th largest in the United States. While our basic mission is to provide a safe and secure environment for those charged to our care, we also provide outstanding inmate program services and programs which have been recognized among the best in the state of California. We provide a wide range of services to over 4,500 inmates on every given day, held on a variety of charges. The demographics of our population and the services we provide make our operation extremely complex. A service area of major concern was our inmate visiting system, which was ultimately addressed through the online visitor registration system. Prior to implementation of the system, we were not meeting state regulations which call for 2 half-hour visits per inmate per week. Instead, we were providing limited visiting slots of an hour each on weekends only, and they are on a first-come, first-served basis. This largely manual process resulted in family and friends who wished to visit forming long lines in the early morning hours. It was really not uncommon to see lines forming as early as 3 in the morning. The public, many of which were women with young children and older parents, had to wait in these long lines for long hours and at the times in inclement weather, and only to be reaching the front of the line and find that the visiting slots were full. As you might guess, we received quite a few complaints from this process. In an effort to address this problem and with the support of our board, we added staff and enhanced our visiting hours. But this was not enough. We continued to work with county technology staff and collaborated to develop a program to support our business process. This strategy fit well with the county's focus on utilizing technology to improve our service delivery to the public. Our specific concerns were to have the ability to have the public pre-schedule visits, the ability to pre-process security clearances before the actual visiting day, and the elimination of those long lines. The online visitor system now permits the public to view the available times and dates and self-register for visits up to 3 weeks in advance through the internet access, after they receive their security clearance, of course. Since the system has been implemented, we have doubled the number of visits to our facilities. In fact, they've gone from 4,200 to well over 9,000 at the one facility that houses roughly 2,500 inmates. The service improvement has taken a process that was filled with anxiety, frustration, and resentment to a user-friendly business process. It has essentially humanized a stressful and sometimes humiliating situation and made it a more respectful and inviting system for the public, many of which had never even had contact with the criminal justice system. Joyce Wing.
As Chief Flores stated, there have been many positive outcomes since we've changed our business process and implemented technology to better support them. One of our goals in our county is to use technology to provide services online versus people standing in line. And we have succeeded with this application in a very dramatic way, but we did have quite a few challenges. One of our main challenges was to overcome the digital divide, even in Silicon Valley. How to provide automation to people who may not understand or be able to access the technology. When the system was implemented, many visitors did not have email, and the use of email addresses to represent user accounts has been a best practice in web application development. So in order to comply with best practices and to meet the challenge of users without email, we implemented fictitious email addresses and provided kiosks in the lobbies for equitable access. We've continually monitored the usage of these fictitious emails, and it has dramatically dropped, and we've even had to remove the kiosks, which is good. Another challenge was interfacing with our criminal justice information to obtain real-time criminal histories, which we were successful. We have many plans for this application. With the diversity in our community, we want to present the application in multiple languages, adapt it for multiple devices, and most of all, we want to share its use. We've reached out to other California institutions and received great interest from others. The Los Angeles County Sheriff, California State Department of Corrections, and various county juvenile probation. However, we have found many do not have the technical staff or environment So we intend to seek funding and business partners to make the application flexible to adjust to various institutions, scalable to handle variations in facilities, and available as a web-based service to enable others to easily use the application. We are thrilled that our program had a positive impact on lives, and we look forward to enhancing and expanding its use. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't understand the thing about the email addresses. Maybe you did.
We had to get very creative.
Excuse me. I thought it was very wonderful, and
Okay.
that people didn't have to stand in line, and that the families could see each other, and that you made such an effort. So I want to congratulate that, but I didn't understand what you just talked about on the email addresses.
Well, basically, when you get on various web applications, some of the best practices was to use an email address. The majority of our audience were visitors for the inmates, and most of them didn't have email addresses. So in order for us to keep the automation flowing, we would create a fictitious one, a fake email address for them, give them the password, and then point them to the library or the kiosk so that they could then, once registered, and once we did the security check and they were confirmed that they could then visit the inmate, then we could turn them over to the kiosk and point them to the library so that they could then log on and be able to use the system. We would have to communicate with them differently since they didn't have an email. Individuals that did have emails, we would be able to automatically notify them
Right.
when there was movement of the inmate. But what we're seeing is now 65% are self-registering. So we're, in the last few years, the ability for individuals to obtain email has tremendously grown. So it's helped us a great deal.
Thank you. Yes, Bill.
You've really gotten some marvelous results since 2002, I think you started the program about that time. 2002 is when you really began to implement the program?
Yes, that is correct.
And I wonder, in view of the great results that you've had and the acceptance of the program, why it hasn't been more broadly replicated in other communities to date?
Well, the regulations that I spoke about earlier apply to all 58 counties in the state of California, and the state Department of Corrections also has regulations that they have to abide by. And so there's business processes that need to be overcome with our system, but beyond that, there's additional technology kind of concerns that need to be addressed. But there's a significant amount of interest in our program statewide, and others that have heard about it are contacting us constantly.
Yes,
I think one of the impressive things about the program is that, if I'm not mistaken from reading the materials in the review, there was a substantial reduction in the line of people waiting to see loved ones, right? And this is a population that's not normally, tech savvy. So one of the things I think you've managed to do is you've reached out to a population that it really isn't very acclimated to this world, got them using the system in a beneficial way, and I think that's worthy of praise.
Thank
Not
you.
really a question, just a comment.
Yes, David.
I'm curious, are you sure this hasn't been done in other states? And if so, how do you know?
We have been working with our Department of Correction to look at various offender management, jail management systems, and the top systems that we were looking at the time did not have this feature. And I think because of the outreach from the LA Sheriff's Department, California State Department of Corrections, they're struggling to find this as well. It seems to be a very unique niche of application. So it's small, but it was very dramatic, and I don't believe there are any lines anymore. So it's a wonderful change.
Yes,
One
Maria.
quick question. Given the current budget crisis that is facing all of us in California, how is this likely to affect either expansion of the program, provision of services in other languages? What are you going to do?
Well, we are looking to expand it as the economy improves and our budget situation subsides a bit. We are looking to expand it to our other facility and into other languages. It does require some support staff, but they're generally clerical type support staff in nature, and so the costs are fairly low. But given that, regardless. We are in budget cutting mode right now, and so we will not be expanding immediately, but we are looking to that in the future.
And if I could say, we have been talking to venture capitalists to see if they'll partner with us and make it generic so that they can help us market it and perhaps maintain it. And hopefully we can get the royalties and put more into their program.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very impressive, and to hear what you're doing for the families of inmates we don't get a lot of programs about the families of inmates, very frankly, so it was good to hear how well you've done. So congratulations.